Good morning, gang. It's Kevin, and we're here with Life22, and we are on a Tuesday morning. It's not quite a Drake song, but it's a Tuesday, and we're just we're past our motivational Mondays. I hope everybody is sore from beating up all the drug dealers in their neighborhood from yesterday. Oh, ready to get back at it today. And then secondly, I want to talk about something that popped up on my news feed yesterday after I got home, and it was so we're going to go politics this morning, and I'm not discerning one candidate over another in this political race for mayor in our town, but I've noticed a lot of this, and I get one of the talking points. Not just the most recent post I saw was from Amy Sherburne, and it was about catching rain barrels and to catch the rainfall so it doesn't get, stuck in the INI, which is part of the infiltration of our storm sewers versus our sanitary sewers. So for those of you who don't know, sanitary sewers are the ones that we sanitize. Like, it goes to be sanitized to remove your poop and piss and all the other lovely things that you flush down your toilet. And the storm sewer is just literally like water that hits the ground and runs on the ground. So as long as it's not contaminated, for the most part, because like water that runs on the street, like there might be dog shit on the street. There might be remnants of dog shit on the street. What happens to your fart when you fart, right? I know a lot of you think about these questions all day long. You're just at work pushing buttons and doing whatever you do, and you're like, man, what happens when I fart? Does it just kind of like hang there? Like, no, it settles on the road. Settles on the road, and then the rainwater comes and washes it into the river. And so you're part of the problem. I want to talk to you about your problem where you fart and you just think it's okay to let the rainwater wash it away. You need to let it settle out, and then you need to go and collect your fart dust. Eventually, you give it like 50 years, like 100 years. I'm going to be long dead, and there's going to be a group of idiots going up to the Common Council complaining that they're still allowing people to fart without permits. Like, they need to have permits because they're going to fart into the river. Like, how do they fart into the river? Oh, and then they're going to go through a diagram, and they're going to show like a little poopy stink. And it's going to look like a cloud, and it's going to settle. It's not rain, just dust settling. Anyways, I figure I'd take it on to a humorous term, but here's the thing, is that it does... Because you could go down a rabbit hole, and I can show you. I just showed you how quickly somebody could go down a rabbit hole to prove that, stormwater should be 100% zero biological waste. It's like, it's bullshit, because you need to stop rabbits from shitting in your yard. I'm all down for shooting all the rabbits because they're good stew, but I'm not. You're not going to stop it. You're not going to stop the bird from flying overhead and taking a shit on the grass, and then the rain washes into the grass washes into the street goes into the storm sewer goes in the river. But here is the slippery slope that comes from this post, right? So they're talking about collecting, look at this rain barrel. We had a light rain and it filled 65 gallons off the top of my house. Well, I guess it depends on how long your gutter run is. All these other things. So they're trying to prevent people's homes from contributing to the INI, which is that infiltration into the storm sewer. And here's part of the problem is that, first off, you want to prevent storm water from getting into the sanitary sewer. So the argument is some houses are connected into the sanitary sewer, right? Like, if you go around people's houses and you see these cast iron pipes coming up to catch their gutter, most likely they tie into the basement and go into the sanitary sewer, and there's usually like a big cast iron trap along the walls. Most of these old houses, they didn't have storm sewers. They just had a sanitary sewer. And your floor drains, which floor drains aren't really a thing you put in anymore. You put in like a crock with a sump pit, because the theory is that back in the day, the theory was like, if your sewer line backs up, it's going to back up onto the floor, and eventually you're going to want to unclog it and wash it out to the sewer. Because most likely your gutter's not going to back up. If your gutter backs up and it's clogged, it's just going to dump water on the ground outside your house, which is no bueno for a foundation to get down that rabbit hole. But it's better than having your basement fill up with sewage, which most likely would be what your basement would fill up with. So they want to take it to the sanitary. So I'm still behind on that. I still like that logic. It makes more sense to me that your house is gonna back up with sewage than it is stormwater. And whatever stormwater infiltrates your basement that goes into your sanitary sewer through foundation walls, you've got bigger problems to deal with, first off. But secondly, who's going to give a flying shit about a little bit of stormwater going into your sanitary? The issue these people are having is that when the water comes down off your gutters, you're catching the entire surface area of your roof from rainfall, gathering it into gutters, sending the gutters down, and sending that into the storm. So what they want you to do, and this is the part that you don't see the Common Council talking about, and I don't blame them for talking about this, because this is an issue like 15, 20 years ago when I moved to Olean. I moved here, and they went around, and they did smoke tests, and they did all these things, and people were up in arms. People were up in arms because it's like, it's my property, I'll do whatever I want. And they're like, wow, you're going to poop in the river, and well, or you're flooding the infrastructure, and we have a rule, and you have to listen to our rule. Because no matter how arbitrary our rule is, as long as we pass it, you have to follow it. Well, what if it violates the Constitution? We don't care about the Constitution. That's the attitude they have. They haven't formally said it. But it doesn't matter if they say it or not. If you act in a way that you don't care about somebody else's rights, you don't care about the Constitution, then you're automatically saying it. You're saying it louder than if you were to say it. And people don't seem to get that. This is, okay, now I'm going into a part where I was yesterday, where something grinds my gears, right? So this is grinding my gears. This is a pet peeve of mine. It's our constitutional rights. It's not a peeve of mine that they exist. It's a peeve of mine that people disregard them. They are the law of the land. Like, and I'm supposed to defend it tooth and nail, foreign and abroad. That's it. Every single person. If some kid on the playground comes along and takes one of my kids' constitutional rights away, it doesn't matter how frivolous. All the constitutional rights from that other kid should be taken away by my child. Like, oh, you stole my ball. That's the theft of property. Like, I have property rights in this. Bam! I stabbed you on the playground. Like, it shouldn't come to that. I think that their de-escalation should come in place. But no, people don't seem to understand. We're willing to send every one of our citizens to war. Draft them all. Oh, we got rid of the draft. Oh, who cares? Well, guess what? When we run out of soldiers, the draft will come back, and we'll eventually be submitting women and children. Because guess what happens if you don't have nobody to fight your wars? They come here and they just take over your women and children. Rape and pillage. Like, that's what happens. So, like, eventually you're just throwing everybody you have at it, because by the time this is all said and done, you don't exist anymore. So if you don't win the war, you don't exist. But anyways, so we're willing to do that, even just to defend the most minute of constitutional rights. And so people don't seem to understand that, and it is what it is. Like, and so somebody infringes on your rights, like, they don't have any more rights. Like, that's it. Like, they don't get it. Like, I have the right to do everything within the Constitution, but if I infringe on your rights, not your negative rights, not all these rights that people keep coming up with, the ones that are in the Constitution, if you infringe on them, like their free speech rights, if I take away someone's right to freedom of speech, and I'm not, like, there's no justification in the Constitution to do so, or any of those other things, like, my punishment should be all my constitutional rights, including the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, which means that somebody could stop my breathing because I stopped them from exercising their constitutional rights. That's it. You no longer have the right to live if you're going to take other people's constitutional rights. It's always been a thing. Always been a thing. And, like, everyone's like, oh, no, we can't do that. We can't hurt people's feelings. Like, yeah, no, because the Constitution doesn't care about people's feelings, because people's feelings are dumb. Feelings mattered. Emotions mattered when we were primitive creatures living in the woods by instinct alone. And now we have rational, logical thought. And emotions still exist, but we need to control them. We need to get rid of them. Like, they exist. You're not going to get rid of them without killing the host, that the emotion, like, part of that section of the brain where it channels all that stuff through, but you have to control them, because otherwise you're primitive and you're not a regular person. Like, people don't seem to get that. They just like, oh, I gotta let my emotions rule because emotions are stronger. It's like, no. Emotions are just primitive technology. Like, I'm going on a rant today. Anyways, all of this to say, so our entire community was up in arms. Like, literally, like, they had gallows uptown. They were going to hang the current mayor. Like, it was like, you don't have the right to step on somebody else's property and tell them what they can and can't do. Like, damn near, like, Brown versus the Board of Education having, like, the Little Rock 9 set. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the National Guard versus the 1st Airmen were going to be, like, duking it out uptown because there was such a huge thing about it. I remember moving here and be like, what am I witnessing? This is just such like, it was just, the government was out of control, and then they got put in their place, and then they stopped doing it because it was such a huge issue. And now, and it's something simple, but the problem is that they don't have the right to do it, and they say something so arbitrary, and then they're like, oh, well, this is so arbitrary, why do you care? It's like, well, because it's my constitutional right. And as soon as you step on it a little bit, you can step on it all the way. You can remove, if I let you take a piece of my pie, you're entitled to the whole thing. And so to prevent that, what they've done is they stopped this code enforcement on this particular issue. Like, oh, well, you can't do this. And so, and the Common Council doesn't want to bring it up. Now, most of them probably have no awareness that this actually happened. Like this ginormous dispute that like they put it out, and a week later they rescinded it because they were about to have a revolt of every single citizen, like school children just like being truant from school to show up to argue this. And I might be exaggerating a little bit, but this was such a huge issue. I remember like every day for like 6 months this was in the paper. And I was a high school kid going like, why are half my friends not at school? Oh, because they're protesting this. Like, and it was such a simple thing, but they were going around smoke testing things, and then they were like giving little old ladies $2,000 fines because like, oh, you didn't disconnect. And then they would give them like an offshoot. And there was a little old lady who lived across the street from us that like got one of these, and she was like, well, I'm waiting for my grandson to come to town this summer to help me remove it. It's like, you have 15 days to remove it, lady. Like, you don't seem to and then they were treating it like it was a matter of national security. And it was like one little old lady, you know what I mean? It was just, but they got eventually the fines got waived, but it was like they were throwing $2,000 fines at a little old lady who had trouble getting outside of her house. Like Meals on Wheels was coming to her house, and that like, I remember coming over to help her mow her lawn, and I was like, what do they want us to do? And she was like, I need you to separate this downspout from the thing. She's like, no, don't. My grandson will take care of it. Like, I'm not going to defy a homeowner. This is not my property, right? So I have to respect your property rights, because that's more important than solving some little government issue. Like, oh, there's a street sweeper fine you got. Like, it's a little government issue. Sorry, I'm like, I got heated, and it's also very, very hot in my studio, and for good audio quality, I don't want to have the air conditioner on. So, that said, how it's going to lay out is they're going to put out these rain barrels, and they're going to say, well, disconnect your sewer from your gutters from the storm sewer. Like, okay. So, okay, you do that, right? And then you put it in a rain barrel. Okay, but now you have to make sure you're constantly monitoring it, right? Like, that's the reason why people switched over to natural gas on a consistent line into your house that doesn't typically run out, so that it can keep feeding all your gas appliances. So you don't have to like go out and like throw wood into your boiler, or throw wood into your furnace, or throw wood into the fireplace, and then you have to stack and split wood and keep supplying it. So you're removing the supply issue, right? Well, here's another thing. Like, the supply issue is not going away with the water. The water comes in, fills the rain barrel. You don't fill up the rain. You don't empty the rain barrel. The rain sloshes on the ground in one consolidated spot, and it creates a sinkhole either along the side of your house, or it rots apart your deck, or wherever your rain barrel happens to be. Or the other thing is you can have it kicked out. And your goal is to kick it out as far away from your house as you can. But these things are not structurally sound. They're just a piece of aluminum that is cast into the shape of a pipe, and you can cut a little notch in the top and make it swing up when you're mowing the lawn, and that's such a pain in the ass. And so, like, the proper, or you could just do nothing and, like, have no gutters on your house, and then the water just, like, trickles, just falls off the drip edge and hits around your foundation, which causes, like, it saves you money today, but in 20 years from now, when your foundation wall collapses and you have to spend, 20, 30, 40 grand to replace the foundation walls of your house, or just let your house go to auction and let somebody else fix it, maybe. And then it has to be torn down by the city with all of our taxpayer dollars, all because they wanted you to put in, depending on your situation, running a storm sewer connection line that you would have the same as your sanitary sewer connection line. To run it out to the street, you need a master licensed plumber. That is our city code. And the issue with the city code in that regard is that there's somewhat of a monopoly amongst master licensed plumbers. Like, I could teach any one of you today, like, how to connect into a city storm sewer. or city sanitary. You need to still bring the excavator out, and then you need the city to sign off on it, or you need the plumbing inspector to sign off on it. And it's such a simple thing, but like, oh, you have to take all these rigorous tests, and you have to be, it's one of those things. That's another pet peeve of mine, that like, you throw me into any field and I'll figure it out. I'm an enigma. Like, people suspect that I'm on the spectrum. I pick up things very quickly, and like, you could send me to go with a master plumber, and I could figure out 95% of what they do. And the things that I don't figure out aren't going to kill anybody. They're going to be a pain in the butt, but it is what it is. But so, like, based on my general knowledge of working with master plumbers and looking into the hole and making the connection, or making the connection with their supervision, like, I could show you how to do it as a homeowner. Regardless, the city needs you to have that master plumber there. And so that's why these storm sewer connections cost just as much as sanitary sewer connections, which can range anywhere from $4,000 to $8,000 on average for you to put one in. There's cheaper options, like you can put in bubblers. There's a lot of labor in the collection of all this. And then you still have to collect it all and tie it into like a manifold just on the outside of your house. There's no sewer gases, so you don't really have to worry about the traps. The old traps were in your basement because they didn't want the sewer gases to kind of, vent out around the base of the house where your gutter would stuff into an old cast iron hub. Anyways, you're expecting little old ladies to pay $2,000 fines for not doing this, or to pay $8,000 to tie in. And I've seen people pay upwards of, like, there was one lady, she paid like $18,000 to have her sewer line redone, to replaced from inside her house all the way out to the street with the city connection. And then while they were doing it, they were like, hey, for 20, make it an even 25 and or 26, and we'll run a water line. So it's like, well, the hole's already there. So she paid $26,000 to have her water and sewer line replaced. And that's without adding the storm sewer. So it's like, man, I mean, see, like, and I'm saying that's not the most average. That's what I'm saying. $4,000 to $8,000 is probably a reasonable number for just your storm sewer line, just based on the fact that it entails almost all the same stuff as a sanitary sewer line. So they're going to produce all these different things. It's going to tell you have to do this, and there's going to be some simple city code. And it's like, yeah, it's a simple city code. But eventually it's going to be, you have to disconnect. And there's already houses all around our neighborhoods. If you look up at every chimney, you see how much people love to do their masonry work. Well, chimneys are high up, Kevin. Why would they want to climb up there? Well, I get it, right? But the part that peeves me the most is that like, the part that peeves me the most, it's just something that peeves me, is that like nobody takes care of their home. Like, they walk around and they're like, they see issues, they don't know how to solve them, they don't want to learn to solve them, and so then all of a sudden the city passes laws that makes people cause more issues in the future. Like, well, what's the cheapest thing? Well, all you have to do is put a downspout, put a kickoff on your downspout, and you're $100 in all the downspouts around your house, and half a Saturday. Oh, that sounds easy. Oh, except for the fact that all the water doesn't leave your yard. So now your yard is saturated. So now you have flooding issues in your yard. And or that water washes back towards the foundation of your home. Concrete, brick, stone, mortar. All these things are great, and they're pretty impervious. The problem is they're also porous, and they absorb water. So concrete cinder blocks over time will start to, crumble and stuff out of the erosion of water flowing through it. Oh, well, they built my house. They put a tar layer up on the outside. Well, yeah, that's great. And the code requires you to have some sort of a sealant there. The problem is that there is no requirement to reapply a sealant, and the sealant lasts 5 to 10 years. So if you're lucky, you got 10 years out of your tar sealant. You've got to dig down around the foundation of your entire house and reline it if you're hoping that's going to be a good measure. Or you can do the common thing, put gutters up on your roof, and then put proper drainage in and drain it out. And if you don't have a new home, which 95% of us in this city do not, you don't have a storm sewer connection. You just have gutters on your house because somebody decided to add them when they learned about what water does to foundations. And then they, so a lot of people did put these in, which is great. Hey, good for you. You've already got a head start. The rest of us still have to do it. So it's like, my gutters kick away from my house, and they hit my sidewalk. And I'm sure someone would bitch about the fact that they hit the sidewalk. But the sidewalk is nice because it drains it away, and it's concrete. And people walk on it. You got to plow it from snow. And so that's the concrete that's going to see the most amount of abuse, which is comparatively to a foundation wall is easier to replace. Now, in a perfect world, I should be able to go under the sidewalk, but now I need a permit. Now, because I'm digging outside for any type of plumbing, I need to have a master licensed plumber be on site, even if it's just digging up to fix and repair my storm sewer or my sanitary sewer. Even if I'm not making the connection in the city street because I'm outside my house digging down. And these are the little issues that people let go for years that are now built into our code. And they are little infringements on our constitutional right. And it's no, it's my home. I can do whatever I want. Property rights are king. I have the right to property, and they can suck it. But what I foresee is that it is going to be a political nightmare for any of the Common Council to try to pass something that says, what it's going to be is they're going to go in and they're going to, and it's one of the guys who doesn't live in Olean that always comes up to the council meetings to bitch about the storm sewer. It's so easy. You could just pass a law. It's yeah, if they want riots and revolutions, there's no poop in the river anymore. It's just blood in the streets because there's a civil war going on because you just made that simple change. Because people like me aren't going to stand for it. You come to my house, let's go. No, I kick them away as best I can. I can do the work myself. There's a lot of people in our city that can't. They just can't. They can't do it. They're 97 years old. They can't. They can barely get out to go to the grocery store. They can barely get to the door to meet Meals on Wheels. Their kids have all moved out of town and abandoned them. So they rely on neighbors like me to come take care of them. It's just hey, there's neighbors in my neighborhood that me and my wife will go and take care of anything they need. Whatever. And, we've had, it's just one of those things. And it's a shame when they have to go to a nursing home because, listen, if they were my parents, we'd be taking care of them. And, there's another fallacy in our society, right? Your parents take care of you when you're a baby and then you get older and then you take care of your kids. But then also your parents get older and then you take care of your parents. That is your responsibility as a good member of society with social fabric. And there are people that, either they didn't have kids, so they don't have this option. And, but you got to take care of your community. And we went over this yesterday with the kid with the bike. You got to take care of your community and you got to get rid of the waste and filth that's in it. The people who sold the kid's bike, right? I guess to get back to topic, the Common Council is going to try to pass something. I know this is how it's going to work. It's going to be incremental, but they're going to be we need to have people disconnect from the storm sewer. And then they're going to send code enforcement around who I'm sure they don't want to infringe on people's property rights, but that's the job they have, is to do that. That is their job is to walk the line on what legally they can and can't do. And the problem is that it's just a headache. But they're going to come to everybody's house and they'll be like, oh, are you disconnected from the sanitary sewer? Oh, yeah, look, see? I put a plug on that hole over there where it goes into the sanitary sewer, now it just dumps on the ground. Or I kicked it away and it goes out 20 feet and it still rots my foundation away. Or I had to pay $2,000 to have a bubbler installed. Oh, city code doesn't approve bubblers. Oh, you know what I mean? There's a lot of things in the code, too, that don't exist to be able to complement this stuff. So there's just a lot of different things, and I think it's hilarious that we're it's going to end up going down this road, and you watch, and you watch people not get reelected to their position. And I'm sure I know what some of them would say, I don't care, I'm here to do what I need to do. And it's well, okay, so but you should be a good member of society and not infringe on other people's rights. Even if you because sometimes I get hot under the collar. I don't know if you've noticed, but I'll get hot under the collar and I want to do something, but I don't, because it is my responsibility to discern good from evil and infringing on people's rights and not infringing on people's rights. And so if I think that this solution may work and I could stake my life on it. The problem is if I infringe on somebody's rights, I am staking my life on it because I should expect them to come and snuff out all my constitutional rights for even just thinking of stepping on theirs. But, well, that's my rant for today, guys. So keep tuned, because I bet you if you watch council meetings like I do, I'm sure all of you out there are just avid watchers of the council meetings. You're going to watch these council meetings, you're going to look at it, and you're going to be like, did they just pass the disconnect from the sanitary sewer ordinance, and now they're sending, hundreds of people around to go and like make sure that I'm not like discharging my gutters into the sanitary sewer? And then what's going to happen is they're going to check every home, and when they do, they're also going to, oh, this is a great revenue generator because we can find all these people, and it's going to be blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, you think that's great to scare your citizens off? Then they move out of state, and then you have more abandoned houses. Like, nobody seems to understand that aspect either. Oh, look at this. There's a heave in the sidewalk. Look, this is a tripping hazard. Give them a fine or give them 10 days to fix it. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's going to happen, and people don't seem to, these slippery slopes, man. And then the issue is all the nonsensical people that show up at the council meetings and push them, and they are like 4% of the population believes what they believe. 4%. And the problem is these people treat them like gospel. It's like if you were to listen to Facebook trolls, that's like 0.5%. And if you were to go off of voter rolls, it's 0. It's like negative. There are more people on Facebook like that are spouting nonsense ideas. That like, for every one voter, there's 1,000 people on Facebook. And you got to think, like, half of them are bots and or like multiple accounts. You got like one person have 15 accounts. And there are people like that. I know people that have 15 accounts. And it's not even like a full-time job for them. It's just like, it's just kind of fun. Like 3 times a day, I'll just log into like half the accounts and just make a random post that supports my opinion. And I'm like, that's just dumb. I could name on like 3 hands people just off the top of my head that could do that, or that do that on the regular. And it's like, and this is just, people just take this as normal. Like, oh, if you want to win, you just got to win in numbers. It's like, yeah, but it's fake numbers. But that's how like, I remember being on the Common Council and we would talk about that. Like, listen, stop listening to Facebook. It's just an echo chamber of people that don't vote. Like, they're not your constituents. You can't take one person off Facebook and be like, oh, well, that's a constituent. Like, there's people you can point out and be like, that's a constituent. I should listen to them. But like, there's other people that are like, this is somebody I went to high school with that moved away 20 years ago, and they're looking back in this like mirror on the wall, Facebook, what's Olean doing, So, all right, guys. Well, I led you down a rabbit hole for almost 30 minutes this morning, and hopefully I'm less unhinged tomorrow, but we will see you guys tomorrow on Life22. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and beat up them drug dealers. Keep them in shape. Keep them in line. Make them get a real job, because it is job lie.